Good morning, everybody. As promised, while I was in Mexico, I'm going to make a slideshow of some Norfolk Southern pictures I took in the 80s and 90s. This first batch is going to be around Chillicothe, Ohio. This is south of Chillicothe. That's the Scioto River in the background, so I know I'm on Three Locks Road. Most of these I didn't write down the year or where they're at. This is along Southern Avenue in Chillicothe. Jawtooth is filmed there, just south of the paper company. This is along U.S. Route 23, the business route, again south of Chillicothe. Along Three Locks Road. See a lot of high hood diesels on this one. Stuff I don't have on the roster anymore, a lot of it. It's a GP30 low nose. I think it's the Southern Avenue crossing again. Same thing. Had a little yard just south of the paper mill. I am going to need to get a high nose Jeep to use for the NW interchange in Chillicothe. This grassy area between the tracks and the road used to be the canal. Long time ago, over 100 years ago. See the smokestack from the paper company above the trailers. One good way to tell it's south of Chillicothe. Still south of Chillicothe, but I'm looking south here instead of north. It's US Route 23 that's going underneath. Now we're up by the depot. This is a southbound. It's Sugar Street on the other side. I'm in the depot parking lot. Roundhouse is behind me. This is along Red Street, south of the depot. And I think it's a pretty cool picture. Notice the blue CN boxcar. I'm up by the Scioto River on the north side of Chillicothe at this point. It's a southbound, and that's Mount Logan in the background. So this next batch is, they're in southern Ohio somewhere, I think, but I really can't remember. Didn't write on them. Most of them, anyhow. I think this might be over the Appalachian Highway south of Piketon, Ohio. Not sure. It's a new bridge down there. This one and the next two I had written on the back north of Portsmouth. So I assume they're along Route 23 because the N&W paralleled Route 23 north of Portsmouth. This is in Canova, West Virginia, the engine terminal there and the little yard they had. I love that high hood GP30 in the back. There it is there, the high hood GP30. And And I believe this is south of Canova along the Big Sandy River, heading southbound. So the next batch will be somewhere else. So this next batch is from Kings Mountain, Kentucky, which is south of Danville. They used to call that line the Rat Hole because it had so many tunnels on it. I think it had over 20 tunnels on it. In the 60s, they daylighted a bunch of them and enlarged the rest. But still a pretty spectacular place to watch trains. So I went down there one time and shot some from down on the trains, and I found a way down and actually shot some down at ground level. There is still a tunnel here. You can see the entrance if you're in the right spot, I guess. Obviously, it's winter. I like to do a lot of rail fanning in the winter because of, well, there's not much foliage and there's no mosquitoes or snakes or poison ivy because I've got long clothes on. So that's my favorite time to rail fan. So this is the famous high bridge over the Kentucky River. Jawtooth has filmed here a few times. It's a pretty impressive structure. I believe this was taken in Lawrenceburg. This was the Wild Turkey Distillery switcher. There was a very spindly trestle before you got there, and they needed a lightweight locomotive to handle it. Matter of fact, I think they used like spacer cars even between it. But I think it's in a museum now, but I'm not sure. Again, I think this was in Lawrenceburg, and that's where they kept it. Most of the rest of these are in Danville, Kentucky. They still have a yard in Danville. It was just a flat switching yard, well, not a hump yard or anything. Station is still there, and they used it as offices for the Norfolk Southern. I believe it's still there. This is the yard tower. I don't think they do fueling in Danville anymore, though. I think they just use trucks. Anytime you see that grain elevator in the background, you know you're in Danville. I know I'm an N&W fan, but I like the Southern paint scheme anyhow. The Southern actually had radio control units in the middle, sort of like DPUs, and this was a radio car. So they put engines in the middle of the train, and the radio car controlled them. I don't know when they quit doing it, but it's pretty interesting. That's what that car was. This is the last slide. Hope you enjoyed it. Norfolk Southern Power in the 80s and 90s. Again, I'm just trying to share my photos rather than just keep them in a box, and I'm the only one that enjoys them. So everybody stay safe.